I mean, huh? I, wait, and then with the, and he was all the, and, huh? Okay. We're gathered here today to talk about Chucky Season 2, airing on the USA and Sci-Fi Networks. And, huh? So this season was a big mixed bag of Skittles for me. There was so much. And I think maybe the biggest thing you can say about this is that Don Mancini is consistent with the pattern he has since Bride of Chucky. Like, I like the first three Child's Play films. I think they're all in the same kind of tone and stuff. And then you have Bride of Chucky, which added more comedy to it. But it's still a good movie. And then you have Seed of Chucky, which a lot of people hate. I think it's okay. I don't hate like everybody else does. But it's not a good film. And then Curse of Chucky came out all those years later, and it was a great film. And then Cult of Chucky came out, and that one I do hate, although I've softened up on it a little bit since the TV series came out. And I like it. I don't like it, but I like it a little bit more than I used to, but I still, it's boring. I don't like the whole cinematography where it's all white and everything and the hallways, not for me. Season 1 of Chucky came out. Well, I had my reservations at first. I thought overall it was good. Then this season comes out, and huh? Probably gonna hear that a lot. So the season starts off with the last one left up. Picks up with the last one left off, which was the truck full of Chuckies. Andy's in the truck, and he starts to drive away. There's a Tiffany doll in there. And then he's left behind, and the others, the kids are, And so we start with Andy in the truck, and, he basically, we get preview of some Chucky dolls in there. There's, Brad Dourif does different voices, and throughout the season, you'll hear the different voices that he does, which is kind of cool. He goes for, but yeah, and so he drives the thing off a cliff, and right away I'm thinking they didn't just kill Andy off. No, he's like a long-standing character. You didn't just kill him off. And spoiler alert, they didn't. But then there's like a couple of days later, because Devin and Jake and Devin are now orphans. They're going to live with foster parents, and Devin's foster parents live in Hackensack, but Jake's lives somewhere else. And so then we cut to a year later. The other cliffhanger I should mention is that Jennifer Tiffany has Nika in her possession and cut off all her limbs so that when Chucky takes over, he can't get up and walk. Don Mancini, if you just, didn't give Chucky the power to walk inside Nika, that wouldn't be a problem, but I don't know. It's very confusing anyway. So there's that. So, all of it, the first episode of this season was actually pretty good. The ending shocked me. So, we have this foster brother of Jake's. And it's Halloween, because the first episode of this was airing in the beginning of October. So, it's Halloween. And so, they're going to celebrate Halloween. Jake's supposed to go back to Hackensack to see Devin, but he doesn't because he's taking his foster brother trick-or-treating. Just because the rift between them, and there's a lot of rift. They do a lot because of where the setting of the season is. There's a lot of, friction between them, and we'll get to the setting, but so then Chucky calls them, and Chucky is sneaking around, and he's basically, causing problems. And then there's this Dr. Mixer who is a therapist for these children and gives Caroline a wedding bell doll, which is the doll that Jennifer Tilly, Tiffany was transferred into in Bride of Chucky. And believe it or not, it does come back in some way, shape, or form. That's the big at the end of the season, but we'll get to that. So Caroline's got the doll, right? And then Jake shows up at the Lexi's house. So is Devin, and they're going, okay, Chucky's back. What are we going to do? And how many of them survived that truck crash? Because they know that something happened there. Chucky shows up with the foster brother and a homemade explosive device. And long story short, foster brother go boom. It's off screen, but he's dead. Strangely enough, though, the wedding bell doll is sitting in the kitchen when it goes off. And a lot of people thought the doll went boom too, but no, it's still there, and it's a plot point. Because of this, though, because of the death of the brother, which they blame on the kids for some fucking reason, because they don't believe that the doll did any of this. Although it confuses me because they're covering it up. That wasn't the doll, and the mom. The mom is one of the worst characters in this fucking show. It's just like, no, there's no doll. There's no killer doll. It was Junior. Junior did it. Despite the fact that it wasn't Junior. But no one wants to admit it. But so the kids are blamed for this. And Dr. Mixer suggests they go to a wayward kids home. It's like a Catholic home for wayward teens. And Lexi mentions that there was a kid named Trevor who was a very bad kid and went there and is still there, which ends up going nowhere really, but and that's how the first episode ends. They go to this place, and this is the setting for most of the season. All the seasons have 1 episode, 2 episodes, because the first one and the last one. So it's a Catholic. Basically, it's a Catholic school. Basically, what it is, wayward kids. And we got Devin Sawa back as Father Bryce this time, and he's the very religious guy. And because of this, and that Don Mancini likes to throw in personal experience. I don't know if this was a personal experience, but for homosexuals, especially adolescents who are questioning their sexuality, struggling with it, this is not the setting for you. Especially for 2 of them who are still struggling to have a relationship. Now they're put in this position where, in the eyes of the people who run this place, it's wrong. Which, in this day and age, you think that no one's going to edit the Bible, but you think they'd be like, yeah, you know what? I know it's in the Bible, but because nowadays you just got to accept it. What have you. And so that's the struggle throughout the season, is they're kind of struggling, and then Chucky comes back into the equation. And Chucky, okay, there are multiple Chuckies in this season, and I think Brad Dourif does a good job with them. First, you have this Scout Chucky that ends up being called Good Chucky, and you'll see why. This Scout comes in, he's taking selfies, and he's basically a scout for someone called the Colonel, which we see later. But they basically Clockwork Orange him so that he's desensitized to everything, and he becomes Good Chucky, but he has no memories. And a lot of people are going to question, was he really Good Chucky the entire time, or was he not? They introduced a character named Nadine, played by Bella Higginbottom, who was in the Mighty Ducks, The Game Changers, and when she didn't come back for season 2, I'm like, well, what happened to her? They don't explain it in the show. She's just gone, which is par for the course for the Mighty Ducks, to be honest, because half of their team disappears between 1 and 2, and they just bring in new people and don't mention what happened to the others. Even the character of Jesse, his brother is not there, and they don't even mention him, so I don't know. But here, it's because she's on this show, And she's a great character, so of course she dies. But we have most of the season with her. But yeah, and she's sort of the catalyst for, so after everything that happened, Lexi is struggling with a drug addiction. She's taking these drugs and it's get worse, and now she's stuck in this Catholic place where, no, 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 and she has some, but she's going to get caught, stuff like that. And yeah. And one thing I'd say for Devon Sawa, his performance is fantastic, but Father Bryce, he's a little too harsh. And you kind of get a sense as to why later, but, So we have a good Chucky who's desensitized. And then another Chucky comes in, and there's this Trevor character who I think is very similar to Oliver. He's sort of, I don't know, he's sort of just an extra character, I guess, but he gets killed. Well, I think he's similar to Oliver. He's a disposable kill. Like, Oliver was just disposable. Chucky accidentally stabs him in season 1. It's like, eh. But here he's get punched through by what I call steroid Chucky, who sometimes has a voice like this and then just talks like Chucky. So, yeah, they modified his voice a little bit. And then good Chucky crucifies him, and literally just to the wall and crucifies him. And then he's thrown away, but then this cuckoo nun finds him, and he's not dead, so she thinks he's Christ reborn. Cuckoo nun. And that's where we take a break, because we jump to Jennifer Tilly land with Tiffany. And okay, this is probably where most people are going to have the problem, is that they went full Seed of Chucky with the Tiffany storyline in this. So she's living the lavish lifestyle in Jennifer Tilly's house, and she's watching A Liar Liar on repeat for some reason, and she's got Nika locked up in a bedroom. And then there's this lawyer or someone that comes looking for her. She kills him, and then Glenn and Glenda show up, and this was what I had concern with going in. I think I did a trailer reaction. I don't know if I ended up uploading it, but at some point I did a trailer reaction. I might not have uploaded it, but that was my first confliction. Having watched the season, the actor / actress, I don't know. They're non-binary. I don't know what you call them. I'm going to say actress, but the actress does a good job. They do a good job. All right. However, I felt like this was backtracking on the character of Glenn and Glenda. Because quite simply, the character arc for Glenn and Glenda is that they were not sure what they wanted to be. And by the end of Seed of Chucky, they didn't need to choose. One was a boy, one was a girl, and that was the end of it. Quite literally. Now, though, they are both non-binary, which I feel like just rips that ending from Seed of Chucky. A lot of people don't like it, so it's okay if they retcon it. But as someone who doesn't hate the movie, I feel like it negates that ending for me. It was a happy ending for Glenn and Glenda. Well, for Glenn, like she was going to go psycho. But I don't know. It just kind of negates that for me, and it's a little iffy. But the first episode we get Glenn and Glenda is also their birthday, and we get cameos or special guest spots from Gina Gershon, because they mentioned Bound a million times in the movies and the TV show. And then we have Joey Pants is there, and Sutton Strachey, I think is her name. I don't know who she is. She's like on a housewife show or something. She is there. They're there for Glenn and Glenda's birthday party. And then there's a security guard that Tiffany hires, who is the dad from Zombies. And he's a jackass. But, yeah, and it's a murder mystery. And someone killed the jackass security guard. And they play with that. So they never do explain this, but I think you can figure it out. Tiffany wakes up with a Chucky head in her bed. And it's implied that Chucky did it, but I guess Nika has those, Nika Chucky has those hand things that I guess they can use. But what? Or it's later revealed that Glenn and Glenda were helping her. So was it one of them? I don't know. But so the security guard ends up dead, and Joey Pants ends up dead, and it's revealed that because Joey Pants was trying to force Jennifer Tilly on him, I don't know, and then Gina Gershon kills him with a gun, which was supposed to be for Nika Chucky to shoot Tiffany, but it didn't happen. So, yeah. And then, after this episode, we cut back for the next episode, because there's one entire episode that takes place, because we kind of go back and forth between Jennifer Tilly and then our people in Hackensack. But this entire episode is set in Jennifer Tilly's house, Tiffany's house, whatever. It's Jennifer Tilly's house, but you know. And then the next episode is entirely. The episode before that was entirely at the Catholic place. The end of this, though, has Nika wheeling her way to this vehicle, and driving the vehicle is Kyle, who's now a redhead. So Kyle is still alive, and she's working with Glenn and Glenda, and it's never really explained how it came to be. Maybe they did. I just didn't hear it, but I don't know. We go back, and this is where the crucify thing happens, and the two Chuckies fight, which is a cool Chucky fight, but yeah. But like, this is where Devin Sawa was a good actor, but the character of Father Bryce, he's a dick to Devin, and he makes him read a passage in the Bible that explicitly says that you cannot lay down with another man, because he knows. And there's more than he's letting on, it seems. That we sort of find out later, but yeah. So Jake has completely gone off bounds with this. He and Nadine are all into good Chucky, and they baptize him, which pisses off Lexi and Devin, because Lexi's dad was killed. Devin's mom was killed because of Chucky. And Jake's dad was killed, but Jake's dad was an asshole. His uncle was killed, but that was technically Junior. His aunt was killed. Pushed out a window. So they went off to the woods, and we get this. Because they realize there's a scout. They got to be scouting for something. And so they go off. They go into the woods. And there's a bunch of dead Chucky carcass pieces all over the woods. And they find this cabin. In the cabin, they find Dr. Mixter, who's in on it, as people suspected when she gave the wedding bell doll. The bald Chucky from the beginning of the season is there, doing a Marlon Brando impression from Apocalypse Now. He talks like this, and he has the cadence like that, and he's the Colonel. And on the bed is a scruffy-looking guy with a beard and a bushy hair, and it's Andy. He's still alive, and he's getting his legs filleted pieces, and then the Colonel is cooking it on this thing and eating it, and it's. Do dolls have a digestive tract? I don't understand. I've never understood the physiology of these dolls, especially when he go from cursed when he was stabbed and it was just cotton, and then the next one he's disemboweled by Andy, and it's confusing, and the continuity is in most of our franchises. You gotta excuse continuity because it just goes out the freaking window. But yes, so. Dr. Mixter leaves with the Colonel because they're going to go back to the Catholic place to see what's taking Steroid Chucky so long. So meanwhile, Devin and Lexi sneak in and untie Andy, and he's somehow just able to walk normal. He's taken back to the Catholic place, and they just say he's a homeless person that they found, and the Lord says you have to help them in need, those in need. And so Father Bryce, who kind of says no, and I thought Father Bryce was going to be in on it, but it's not. But this other Sister Ruth is like, oh, Father, it's in the Bible. He's like, fine, because he has this place on lockdown after Trevor's gone missing, and the other two have taken off. So he's got a place on lockdown, but you know. So Andy's there now, disguised as a homeless person. Really not much of disguise. Although Alex Vincent did say that it wasn't really his beard, it was just prosthetics. But so yeah. And Dr. Mixture is also there with the Colonel. And the Colonel has the showdown with the steroid, but he's poisoned the steroid Chucky. Again, digestive tracts, I don't understand, but he's poisoned. And he has a fight with the good Chucky, but the Colonel is killed. He's stabbed in the back of the head by Andy, I think it is. And you get the Dara in non-flashbacks, which is weird, but Dara, Apocalypse Now. I've never seen a movie, but there's movies I've never seen, but I know lines like Apocalypse Now and other movies. I was talking to Brandon about it yesterday, my friend Brandon. I know lines from The Wedding Crashers and certain other films that I know some lines, but I've never seen the movies. I know some important lines, But Dahara, it's an infamous line from that movie, so yeah. And he's dead. And I do like when Andy looks in and they're all standing there with Good Chucky, and he goes, "What the fuck is this?" But Good Chucky, he doesn't want to be evil anymore. Despite the fact that we saw him kill a fly. Things like, he wouldn't hurt a fly. He killed a fly. And he even offers Lexi, how about something to take it off the edge off him? Something with him. And it's implied that he's kind of has a multiple personality, sort of, where he's sort of good and sort of bad. He's kind of slowly reverting back to evil Chucky, I guess. And Dr. Mixer's like, okay, I'm going to take you, I'm going to make you evil. Apparently, and this is sort of retconning, because you watch season 1, you see that Chucky has been evil from the very beginning, or Charles Lee Ray, whatever. Here it's implied that she helped mold him to be perfectly evil, so he wasn't completely evil, despite the fact that he killed his own fucking mother, and the janitor guy, and that, I don't know. But if he was seeing the therapist before he killed his mother, she could already be molding him. So there is that. Because, there could be problems. He's going to see her, and she molded him. The only problem I have, and it's never particularly said how old Charles Lee Ray is, but the actress who plays Dr. Mixture is 2 years younger than Brad Dourif. And yet, we see flashbacks that she's older than Charles Lee Ray. So it's very confusing to me, the age gap. So yes. Meanwhile, Glenn and Glenda are with their mother, who they somehow think they're Jennifer Tilly. So they're just going to retcon out the end of Seed of Chucky, where the Chucky had grabbed Glenn. Apparently they don't know what that was anymore, but they're having dreams of killing Joan from Seed of Chucky. So something is going on. They're having memory popping in. But Jennifer Tilly, she's denying everything, and then the cops are now after her because of, well, not yet, I guess, but it's revealed, and this is another jump the shark moment. She still has the Tiffany doll with Jennifer Tilly in it. So that's another retcon, because we saw a Tiffany doll. Well, no, that's the Tiffany doll that Andy killed at the beginning. And they're like, a lot of the Chuckies at the beginning, they're not completely Chucky. Not yet. They're like, he looks so familiar. And after he kills the Tiffany doll, they're like, Andy. And they're like, oh shit. But yeah, that one was killed. Okay, so there's another one with Jennifer Tilly still in it. So it's revealed they switched, which I feel is a retcon, because I feel like it wasn't a switch, and it's always weird with that because it's implied that it wasn't a switch. That they like it's a twist reveal in that movie that Tiffany is in the Jennifer Tilly's body. So I don't know, but what have you. But she has Jennifer Tilly still in the Tiffany body, so it can help her play poker, because Jennifer Tilly's a great poker player. great poker player, and help do movie roles, I guess, or answer fan mail. That's it. Yeah, I don't know. It's a shark jumping moment, but they decided they're gonna get the hell out of there, and yeah, I think someone shows. Oh, it's Meg Tilly. I forgot she was at the party, and Meg Tilly walks in and finds it, and so Tiffany kills her. And then they get out of there and she sets her house on fire. So now Tiffany, Jennifer Tilly, is a fugitive. She's on the run. So then with, it's just Glenn that's with them, because Glenda is, and it's also confusing because Glenda has short hair and is more tomboyish, and Glenn is the more feminine one, which I feel like it should be the other way around, and it feels like Tom Destiny's just trolling us at this point. Like, they could make Glenn the more tomboyish one because he used to be a boy, and Glenda the more feminine one because he used to be a girl. But he swapped it on purpose to fuck with us. That has to be it, because it's very confusing. He did to confuse us. It's very Mancini, you're a confusing individual, and I love that. Really. But yeah. So Jennifer Tilly says, I need to transfer my body into a doll, but it can only be a wedding bell doll. Which, again, is retconning, because Chucky, like, they say that you can only transfer your body into similar things, but Chucky was able to transfer his body, in his soul, into Nika. And they were going to transfer from them into Redman and Jennifer Tilly, which it worked. Jennifer Tilly worked. But now she can only go back into a Belle doll? I don't know. It's very confusing. But I digress. So, yeah. So then Glenda, Nika Chucky, and Kyle show up at the Catholic place. And they basically confront Dr. Mixer, and they're like, no, you can't leave with them. And so they're going to have an exorcism of a fucking doll. An exorcism. And this was a fun episode, I think. And it's like, cherry on top is Devin Sawa's performance. But, do we have to see his abs? Because, like, there's this whole thing where he's preparing, and he calls the Vatican to confirm, because you've seen, like, The Conjuring and stuff. You gotta call the Vatican to confirm the exorcism, and as soon as he tells them they're in a doll, they disavow him. Which I feel like means the exorcism wouldn't work, because he's not a priest anymore, but what do I know? Ed Warren was able to do that shit, and he's not a priest, so... Sure, Alex from Final Destination can do it. The guy with his hand chopped off from Idle Hands can do it. Which, by the way, there is a nod to that. And it was funny because I just watched Idle Hands for the first time. But he says, when he gets there, Idle Hands are the devil's playground. And I'm like, that cannot be a coincidence. They have to have done that on purpose. There's no way that they just had that line in the script and didn't mean to point to that. Just saying. But anyway, so he does this. And he goes to change into another frock. What you call it. And he does this thing where his abs are out and everything, and he puts it on, and it's like, what was that? What? Do we need to see that? Ladies? Some fellas? Okay, sure. We do the exorcism, and it doesn't really work, but it's sort of. Chucky goes into Father Bryce's body, so you get Devin Sawa is Chucky. And I gotta point this out. I think I said this for season 1, but Fiona Dorff, fantastic as Chucky Nika. I mean, in season 1, she had to play Nika possessed by Chucky, Nika pretending to be Chucky, Nika, Chucky pretending to be Nika. So that was great. And she's great here too. And then you have Devon Sawa as Chucky for a short amount of time, a few seconds, before he just explodes for some reason. Which maybe because it wasn't transferred right by voodoo. I don't know. But he explodes and he's gone. And so they do the Adedui Dumbala chant. That's right. And they transfer Chucky inside Nika. Oh, by the way, this is the into the doll that had good Chucky in it. By the way, Nadine bites it because before this, she races the good Chucky races up to this bell tower thing. Nadine chases after, and he throws her out the fucking window and lands in like the Jesus statue, whatever it is, Virgin Mary statue, whatever it is, holding her, and she's dead. And that's the kill of the season, you know. So yeah, and then we have the exorcism. It happens. They transfer the soul into the doll, and Dr. Mixter's like, I'm out of here. But then in comes Cuckoo Nun, and it's like, let Dr. Mixter and the Lord and Savior go. And like, Glenda just hucks a knife into her eyeball. She's dead. There's that. Dr. Mixter goes to get away. All the guns were put away. She goes to get away. But Andy shoots the fuck out of this Chucky. And just, you get the gore. Because shoots his mouth, everything, it's dead. And that's basically the end of this Catholic school story, basically. Dr. Mixter gets away, right? And Tiffany, oh, by the way, they're outside. Nika goes to shoot Tiffany, but Glenn stupidly jumps in the way because they need to set up the story where Glenn and Glenda go back into the doll. Problem is, they were already gonna fucking do that to begin with. I don't like it when a show is like, okay, we're gonna do this, and then have to give us a reason that they're gonna do it after they've already said we're gonna do it. Because they show that the Glenn doll, they already had the Glenn doll. They still had the Glenn doll, I guess I should say. So they're already gonna transfer. The whole thing was they're gonna meet up with Glenda so they can put their souls back into the doll. So they're already gonna do that. You didn't need Glenn to get shot because it doesn't add anything. It just makes you scratch your head like, why did they do that if they're already going to transfer them? I don't know. It's very confusing. But they go off. They're gone. And so Nika is no longer inhabited by Chucky. So she's basically free to go. And then you have this sweet moment between Kyle and Andy where they reminisce about, what are we going to do now? You know, we've been going after these dolls for all these years. What are we going to do now? Little flashback to Child's Play 2. And then this is basically the end of their story for this season. Hopefully they come back next season. Hopefully there is another season because that would be cool. But unlike last season, this wasn't confirmed this time. So hopefully we get another season because there are some things set up. But we're not done. So are you ready for this? The final episode of Chucky. Oh, the ending hook for this episode, by the way, is Dr. Mixter driving away. And then she starts to laugh like Chucky. So you're wondering, well, how the hell did that happen? Well, let me tell you. Last episode of this season. Christmas episode, by the way. But we get a flashback to the ending moments of the last episode. Where Andy is going to shoot that one Chucky. Turns out, before they started chasing after them, Chucky turned on Dr. Mixter, possessed her, and so the Chucky that was killed was actually Dr. Mixter in the Chucky doll. I don't know. Didn't sound like her, but okay. That's a nice twist. And then Chucky and Dr. Mixter's body goes back to Dr. Mixter's house, and there's another doll, which sets up the Christmas episode. So most of this episode is just Christmas stuff, right? And Jake and Devin are going to stay at Lexi's house. And at first I was like, Lexi's mom is acting weird. Is she already possessed? She's allowing them to be there? She's like, of course. And I'm like, she's on a live stream. And you got Caroline. Caroline has the Belle doll still, so it wasn't exploded. Wasn't blown up. No. So there's that. So it's a Christmas thing, and they use the Belle doll as the baby Jesus in the nativity scene. This was all live streamed, so Jennifer Tilly can see this and go, I gotta get that doll. And so then, Glenn is still in the hospital. Glenda is there. And Tiffany sneaks in, and after killing the security guards outside the door for some reason, maybe because they were shot, I don't know. Because they're Jennifer Tilly's kids, and Jennifer Tilly come find them, I don't know. They transfer into the Glenn doll off screen. Because I'm like, well, because they go in there, and she's carrying out the doll in the thing. I'm like, where's Glenda? Where's Glenda? And then they show the nurse come in. Dude was fried, electrocuted, and then both of them are laying dead in the bed. And I'm like, okay, that was very quick, and there was no lightning or anything in the sky. That's very quick. Meanwhile, Chucky has made his way to the Cross house, which they still live in a big house, even though she's not the mayor anymore, because it's revealed she lost the election. I don't know. And this is taking place over a few months, because it's Halloween when it starts, and it's Christmas now, so it's all within the same year. And so Caroline is sleeping in a bed with the Belle doll, and Chucky sneaks in, and he eats the milk and the cookies and the stuff, and the mom, Jennifer Tilly sneaks in the house, the mom comes down, and she's talking to Jennifer Tilly, or, Tiffany, whatever. It's hard to differentiate. And you see Chucky's behind her with a fucking chainsaw, and rather than say, hey, watch out, Tiffany just goes, because she knows what's coming, and fucking Chucky just saws right through her. So now all three of them kids are orphans. But it looks like they're going to get taken care of by a very weird, I don't know, we'll talk about it. So she is cut in half, David Copperfield, dead. Okay? And basically Tiffany's like, Chucky's like, where are Glenn and Glenda? Oh, by the way, Glenn and Glenda are now in the doll body. They got Billy Boy back to do the voice for the short time that it was. And they're called Gigi, and they're dressed up like basically what Glenda was with the short hair and the feminine stuff. And I don't think you need to LGBT the doll necessarily, but that's fine. Gigi, that's the nickname you call your grandma, but it's fine. Whatever. And it gets mailed somewhere. I don't know where. Maybe that's get rid of the doll. People who hate on Glenn will be happy now. Gigi, I guess you call him now. Them now. Them. Sorry. Pronouns are not my specialty. I am a he. Him, he. Him, he, him. Whatever. But, yeah. As a straight man, I'm not hip to the LGBT lingo, okay? I try. Sometimes it slips. I'm sorry. I'm not ignorant. I respect your choices. However weird the choices that Mancini may make in this show. But anyway, so their mom is dead. Jennifer Tilly goes up to steal the doll, and it's revealed that because Lexi's already come downstairs, and I fucking attacks Chucky and chainsaws him. So he's dead. The last Chucky, we're led to believe the last Chucky is dead. Tiffany goes in to get the doll, and Jake is hiding there, and he and Devin are like just stabbing her. Not like, but it's basically so that they believe it's self-defense, and they stab her, the doll. But then Caroline shows up with a knife, gives it to Jennifer Tilly or Tiffany, and she holds the knife to Caroline's throat. And basically, this is the first of the episode. Really, the first episode, the episode. She's like, I know that she wasn't my real mommy. Chucky told me the truth, and Lexi's like, no, she's your real mom. That Chucky's lying. I don't know what to believe anymore. Is Caroline Jennifer Tilly's daughter? How? When? I don't know. Supposedly Caroline was adopted. I'm pretty sure that's a lie by Chucky to manipulate her. But yeah, so they end up getting away because they have Caroline. She has Caroline hostage with the Belle doll, and they drive off. And then it cuts to the cops. The cops have are investigating the thing. They're going there and they're like, "Who was it?" And they're basically like, "It's Jennifer Tilly," and they believe them because she's known as a killer. That's Jennifer Tilly. But they don't ask, why would Jennifer Tilly be after you? Well, they did show in the previews that Jennifer Tilly was connected to the mayor, so they say Jennifer Tilly killed the mom, and then it's better than saying it was a killer doll, but, you know. Yeah, and then Miss Fairweather shows up. And I want to know her connection so bad, so I hope we get a third season. But they're like, you're not going to believe us. And if we told you, and they're like, Chucky did it. And she's like, I knew it. And I'm like, what is her connection here? Miss Fairchild. I don't know. Everybody in first season thought she was connected to Chucky. But I want to know her connection. And if we don't get a third season, I want Mancini to do a live stream where he study and answer the questions. Or do a movie that finishes it up. Something. I have to have these answers. We're not done with the just yet. We go back to Jennifer Tilly's hotel room where she's there with Caroline and the Belle doll. She gets a phone call. It's from Nika, who says that I'm going to find you and I'm going to kill you. And then she's like, I like what you do with your hair, which implies and reveals that she's in a hotel across the street watching her with binoculars. So Tiffany's like, okay, we got to get this done. She starts doing the spell to the Belle doll. And she's like, and switch. Oh, and possess, which you never had to say possess before, but and then you get the croc line, and then the doll comes to life. But Tiffany is still Tiffany. And then the green eye, what do you call them? They are contacts, pop off, revealing blue eyes. And then the face rips off, revealing it was a good guy doll disguised as a Belle doll the entire time. Again, I must reiterate. And then the doll goes to stab Tiffany, and it cuts to black. And then Chucky sings the 12 Days of Christmas, or 26 days, implying 26 kills in the season, which include, by the way, I forgot to mention, the Jennifer Tilly episode, Chucky is required to do at least one kill himself. Most of the kills were done by Glenda, and the poisoning was from Glenda, and then she killed. Joey Pants was killed by, I can't forget, Gina Gershon, but yeah. So Chucky kills Liv Morgan, the wrestler who comes on to the show. She kills him. He's like, I gotta have at least one kill in the episode. And we have 10 fucks, which there was no F words, 10 F bombs. So he's stabbing her and he goes, fuck, 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 fuck. Reminds me of Richard Brake in Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. I hate that movie, but fuck, 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 fuck. You know. That makes me laugh. I love Richard Brake. That part makes me laugh. The whole hospital scene is actually pretty good until the rest. Anyway, yeah. And so he does the 12 days, or 26 days like Christmas. Are they trying to say it was 26 kills? Gotta wait for Dead Meat's kill count eventually down the line. But yeah, this season was a little mixed bag for me. They went a little more into the comedy aspect, into the more goofiness, like with Seed of Chucky. Like I said at the beginning, it's more of a sequel to Seed of Chucky. But hopefully, with Gigi now set somewhere else, we can move on from that next season. I want to know Miss Fairchild's connection. are Andy and Kyle going to come back now that there's a new Chucky doll, right? Because I'm assuming if he does kill Tiffany, which because they cut it, something's going to happen. And even with that, you know, he's going to want to get revenge on them. And if not, they're going to try to go after Caroline, that sort of thing. They're going to have to call Andy and Kyle at some point to get help, I'm assuming. I don't know. It's interesting. Before the season started, though, I was conflicted because I was like, I don't want to go back to Jake, Lexi, and I want to follow Andy, and I want Andy and possibly Kyle. I want to follow them. I want to go back to the original characters from the original franchise and just leave those new ones behind. But after this season, I kind of want to see more of them. So it, you know, at least add that. Over on Regional Get Stuff for TV, I'll give it a C. It's kind of in the middle. If it was a movie, it'd be middle of the road. It was a mixed bag for me, but I didn't hate it. There was just a lot of confusing things, especially in the last episode. Still gotta know, like, how was the good guy doll? How could it be disguised as another doll? I don't know. It's very confusing. But yeah. So what are your thoughts on Chucky Season 2? Let me know in the comments. Let me share, like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'm Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.